Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Pash On Podcast. Let's get started with your host, Brian Pash.
Hi, this is Brian Pash, and welcome to another podcast interview. Today is going to be one you're going to want to bookmark and share with your colleagues. On the show today, I have Amol Waishampayan. He's the Chief Product Officer at fullthrottle.ai, and we are going to be talking about breakthroughs in first-party data management. Amol, welcome to the show.
Hey, Brian, thanks for having me.
You know, Amol, I've been going around the country talking to dealers about the importance of first-party data management. To set the record kind of straight, you know, dealers should know by now that their DMS was not made to be a centralized marketing platform. The CRM was not made to be a centralized marketing platform. And in fact, dealers have about 12 different vendors controlling part of the customer journey. So having a single record for each customer, knowing their communication preferences, knowing the best way to market to them has been elusive. But the team at fullthrottle.ai has been working on this for quite a while. For a dealer principal who's tired of yet another marketing platform, how would you describe Full Throttle to them in a way that might pique their interest?
For sure. Thanks, Brian. And yeah, you know, it's interesting because, you know, as this topic has, I would say, heated up, you know, in the last year or two, it's something that we were really a first mover on, you know, 4 or 5 years ago, before cookie deprecation, before third-party cookies, you know, going away. So we always had I think, a good hypothesis, you know, a good forecast many years ago to say, hey, like, why don't we start doing this now? Because this may be a problem, you know, a couple of years in the future. And while I think of the CDP space and, you know, this overall space around customer data, there's a lot of different directions you can go in. And the overall idea of a CDP umbrella, I think, is still very intimidating, right? Because you can choose to define that acronym in so many different ways. But I think the biggest thing that we focus on as part of our integrated marketing cloud, our IMC, the goals are to manage all of your data in one integrated platform. And I think managing data is just one piece. If you have to manage data and then, you know, have to do something with it afterwards, then you're creating a lot more effort and labor for the dealership, something that we know does not make tools very successful. So we made sure that we built on top of our integrated data platform to allow you to convert more traffic, build dealership loyalty, and drive more foot traffic like never before, right? So can you target and measure segmented audiences, either previous customers, new and market prospects, and then measure every single thing that you do. Every marketing dollar should be tied down to business outcomes, which may mean sales transactions, service transactions, and you know, resulting things like gross profit or RO values.
You know, and Amol, I want to help dealers connect the dots here. In the past, dealers would dump a list from their DMS or their CRM based on, hey, people who have a lease coming up or people who submitted a lead but never bought, and would hand these lists to a marketing company. They'd run marketing campaigns, and those outcomes of those marketing campaigns never were updated back to the CRM or the DMS because that wasn't the role. Right. And what we had is marketing dollars being thrown at consumers without a tie back to the DMS. When you have a customer data platform like fullthrottle.ai, the marketing is associated with a known person, with a known household. So if a vehicle comes in to the dealership and services their car or buys a car or trades a car, you're matching that marketing investment exactly into a DMS record. I think one of the other pieces that is really powerful is that as consumers come to the dealer's website after it's been tagged for Full Throttle, once they fill out a form once they open an email, they are identified so that if they're back on the website just shopping, Full Throttle knows that. And I think that's really important to understand, that Full Throttle helps reduce defections. So when existing customers are out shopping on your website, looking at cars, the dealers can set up activation campaigns, right? Them all to reach out to them, to offer something personalized. So never again will a customer be going to a dealer's website and, in a sense, be underserved. Is that a fair statement?
Yeah, I think you're bringing up two great points. One is that we built technology. I mean, I myself behind the scenes, I was one of the key people building it with our engineers back in 2017. We built a technology that we just received the patent on in January of this year, and the patent allows us to identify online households on a dealer's website and real time compare it to their previous customer database. Now, people have tried doing things like this in the past with, either cookies or, you send an email out. Did someone, visit the website after clicking on the email? There's like some, I would say, more rudimentary things that have been done in the past decade. But our patent is a truly unique new way of doing it. We're identifying without really needing anything from the dealership. You don't need to send any marketing. You don't need to do anything. We're able to use our patent to identify household level traffic that is on any dealership, individual dealership, or if you're part of a group, those that are cross shopping, across the group of dealership websites. So to your point, when you now compare it, you can say, hey, I had 10,000 people, households on my website last 60 days. How many of them were previous customers? How many of them are in a lease upgrade or a finance upgrade position, right? How many of them have inventory that perhaps I want to acquire, right? How many of them have an affinity for electric, knowing that I have electric inventory that I want to try to move off the lot. So that first technology that we have is a core part of our platform. It's a patented technology, so it is truly unique and something that no other platform does in the way that we do and at the level of quality that we do. So that's one huge piece. The second piece that you touched on is that one of the parts of the platform which you can choose to enable is around our ability to send a vehicle statement in a vehicle wallet. And without going too much into detail on that, the biggest takeaway and value that dealers get from turning on that part of the platform is to allow zero-party data. And zero-party data is customers directly editing their own first-party data information, right? So let's say you get a vehicle statement and it shows, Brian, that you have 2 cars and here's the information, their payments, their mileage, etc. You can now, when you get your statement, you say, actually, I don't own that car anymore. Or, I changed my address. I actually live here. Or, you keep sending me this email about missed a service appointment, right? Or scheduled out of my scheduled maintenance. And now I can say, I did go to the Pep Boys and I did it, right? So we have consumers that actually go in and are updating their information because they know that, hey, that's not right. I'm actually at 20,000. You estimate I'm at 10,000 miles. I went on a road trip. I'm actually at 20,000 miles. So customers are, because they realize that they want to better their marketing. All of the marketing that we deliver, an email, etc., allows them to modify their own information so that your data is cleaned, not by some third-party data source, right? I mean, in the last decade, there have always been we'll come in and clean your database, right? And we're going to use all these third-party identity graphs. I won't use them by name, but there's a lot out there that say, we have the best identity graph. We have all the data. We're a big data warehouse, right? And we'll come in and we're going to clean your DMS magically and do all these things. We did a lot of testing on pretty much all those providers out there when choosing whether or not to integrate that in our solution. And we found that these data brokers who are bringing all this data together and then selling it to companies like us or directly to dealers, it is a lot of bad data and it is inaccurate. And we did a ton of studies, and I'll tell you how. The way that we did it is that we had, for a long time, we've had this program running for a long time. We have a lot of dealers and their customers who go in and actually update the information and say, I don't own that car. It's at this much mileage. Here's another car I have in the household, etc. So they're filling it with real data. So we knew definitively the answers. We took all the answers to that, to those questions, but then we sent all the questions to these appenders, right? These DMS database, fixers, hygiene, appending companies. And we said, what do you think the answer is? Because we knew for sure, because the customer literally raised their hand and told us. So we went and said, how much, what do you think is the right answer? And we found that the right answer, they often did not get the right answer, unfortunately. So a very long-winded, but I think very interesting study and experience that we went through, to say that we allow customers to give zero-party data and fix their own information in the DMS, and that is 10,000 times more powerful than anything you could try to buy your way out of that's out in the market.
Amol, thank you for diving into those details, because it's very important for each platform who's in this CDP space or first-party data management space to carefully explain their unique value proposition. And I think you did a great job there. I want to share with the dealers who are listening, the marketing professionals who are subscribers to this podcast, about a real practical application. For most part, when dealers want to do an OTT campaign, they go to Spectrum or Effective or Cox Media, and they'll say, hey, I want to do an audience of in-market shoppers, or I might want to do in-market shoppers who are looking at trucks. And they typically buy a bulk list, match it up to the viewing household data that the cable companies have to come up with a media buy list.
Yep.
What dealers can do now with Full Throttle, and it's mind-blowing, instead of using a third-party audience that you don't know how old it is or how fresh it is or how accurate, since you're identifying over 50% of the households that come to the dealer's website, you can provide the cable companies through BlockGraph, which is a clean room that's owned by the cable companies, the exact households who are shopping, and place streaming ads directly into those homes without guessing, without modeling. I think this is a breakthrough, Amol, that people don't realize. By identifying the households that come to the website on a monthly basis, over 90 days, that's a pretty major database of active shoppers that now they can match to. I think Todd Hauser, who's on your team, was saying over 98% match rates to the homes. This is a breakthrough in targeting. Do you agree?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think I'm because you're talking to someone who's behind the scenes. I'm live on the product side. I'll go into details without nerding out too bad, but I go into details that I think are important for dealers to know. And I think you hit the nail on the head. This is an incredible opportunity, and I believe the underlying change, the thing that is really driving this I think unique moment of innovation, is this household approach, right? In the last decade, everyone has done things like, and I know some progressive dealer marketing managers, et cetera, they're pretty familiar with some of these terms, like hashed emails, IP addresses, right? Cookie syncs and all these things. It's been done for a decade. And that's where you find things like really low match rates. And as third-party cookies started going away, it only exacerbated this really big challenge of trying to figure out what to do. Because we took this unique approach on a household, right, a postal address, that gave us a lot of unique advantages in doing exactly what you mentioned, right? A postal address where you have your set-top box, right, where you may have different types of video that you are viewing. It creates and enables a really high match rate. That like almost obsession to do everything from a household focus not only gives you the forward activation opportunity that you've probably never had before, but on the back end, when your marketing is complete, it enables you to measure all your transactions down to that same postal address. Because when you think about all the fields in a sale or a service transaction, right? And it's getting a little more granular, but it's important. Your name, Brian, you could buy a car, but put it in a family member's name, right? Your wife, a child, etc. You could, change the email address. It could be a single email address, a joint, a couple email address, a lot of different options there. And so when you think about what is the field that has the most likely in the short time frame, the most accuracy, it's going to be your postal address, right? Because often people are financing a vehicle or they're leasing a vehicle, it means there's some kind of financial institution involved, or just through insurance and other reasons, that address pretty much has to be as legit as possible compared to all the fields. So I know it's a little bit granular, but I think I want to bring that back to your points of media activation. It's that obsession at the household level that is really making the biggest difference, underneath all this amazing features and marketing opportunities we've built into the platform.
Amol, you brought up a great point. Having a platform that unifies data to create a golden record for each customer, and then knowing which marketing has been sent out and to see what service or sales revenue, really a complete system. You mentioned very quickly the integrated marketing cloud is helping agencies and dealers save time, because what you've done is, once the fullthrottle.ai platform identifies different audiences, people who have a lease coming up, people who are actively shopping for EVs, based on the shopping data on the dealer's website, the dealer or agency can just say, okay, I'd like to do some display. I'd like to do some online video, whether that's OTT or YouTube. I do email marketing. You've made it easy for them to activate the data. Could you explain how that works?
Yeah, for sure. Basically, the reason we've made it easy is because we spent a lot of time integrating with all of these media solutions, right? So, like you mentioned, Spectrum, Charter, and iHeartMedia, really big audio partner of ours. They've been with us from the beginning. To be able to seamlessly activate, it was a lot of work, right? And we've been doing that work for the last 4 or 5 years, so that you can choose your audiences. Yes, you can pursue the golden record. I think the pursuit of the golden record is one that's probably never done, right? Because there are still a lot of vendors in automotive retail, and when you start looking across tier, that becomes even more challenging, right? But it's a great pursuit to try to basically do the best you can and try to get the best audience segmentation that you can. And the fact that we can, you can basically use the platform. You don't have to hire a whole team to be like, well, someone's managing my Google, someone's managing my Facebook, someone's managing, my display over here and my display over there. I have a Spectrum rep, I have an iHeart rep, right? It's just like there's so many different things that are all happening. And I think it's very intimidating to have to manage that instead of just focusing on selling cars. And we said, okay, there's no point in a CDP or a platform if it's just about the pursuit of the golden record, which like I said, is an always on pursuit. There's no point in that unless you've invested, right, all of the very large capital investments you have to make to be able to seamlessly take the household and say, okay, I want to immerse that household in all media, right? If that household is, a profitable audience, and I'll get to that in a second, what that really means. If that household is a profitable audience, I want to immerse that household and say, let's make sure it's immersed in display, all kinds of video. Yes, the set-top box video, but also online video. I want to make sure that every podcast, every audio stream that's being heard has my piece of it, because this is a really high, in-market household. And I also want to make sure that a piece of direct mail is sent to that person at the same time, so that almost that simultaneous, immersive household tactic is one that is done with a few clicks. And it took us a very long time to get to those few clicks. It's because of the deep partnerships that we've built and the capital investments we've made in the platform in the last 5 years.
Specifically, I want to address one issue that seems to be elusive. That's helping dealers increase loyalty, right? I always say it's tough to increase loyalty if the customer experience sucks. So if you are putting an identity resolution layer on your website, if you know when your customers are back on your website shopping for a car, maybe looking at service specials, when you can know how to deliver media to their household, and you make it easy to shoot an email or a direct mail piece or include them into an online marketing audience, okay, the potential's there, because you're operating from one playbook. But how is it specifically that you're seeing the fullthrottle.ai platform helping dealers increase loyalty? What's the secret sauce there?
Yeah, for sure. So there's a couple of different features that enable us to do that. But I'm also going to talk a little bit more, maybe abstractly, just for a second, more strategically, right? Um, I think loyalty is measured a number of different ways, right? There's the way that the OEMs measure it for the dealers and they get their scorecards, right? There's another way to think about loyalty, and it's that people who have bought from you before, and people that are on your website, which are two highly profitable types of audiences, right? Let's just start with those two. These are the people you want to drive loyalty with. And the challenge is that every dealer is spending a lot of money on some kind of conquest solution, right? And those are not typically cheap solutions. They're like $3,000 to $4,000, like low average. Some are spending, way more than that to get, some of the third party data companies, some that you mentioned too, or say, hey, let's get all the in market, conquest data and spend all this money. So, to me, these customers are, again, on your website, they're in market and they already have some kind of interaction with you, even if that interaction is just purely digital. To me, that's where you need to, basically play defense, right? And keep loyalty. And your previous customers, same thing, right? Not only is loyalty at an all-time low, they need to be keeping their interactions with you high. And you need to make sure that you have the mindset that a little bit of defense goes a really long way. It's true in sports, and it's certainly true in automotive retail. So I think in general, from a strategy, that's one way I think about it. From specific features, right, things that we enable, the vehicle statement is something that we see have high value in terms of creating loyalty. And our vehicle statement, I'm very proud to say, average open rate is around 30 to 35% for the same customers month over month, which is honestly mind blowing, right? Like in automotive retail, for all of us maybe for yourself and also those that are listening, when you send an email blast, an open rate that high is kind of insane. Like it just doesn't exist. And the reason is that we focused on loyalty, and the messaging in our email programs are not very overly promotional. They're not very salesy, for lack of other word, right? They are purely providing utility to customers. And when you provide value back to customers, that is the underlying way to actually build loyalty. Often, I think there's so much out in our market, and there's these quote unquote loyalty programs. And they're basically like, give a customer money, offer them an incentive, send them more emails, send them more marketing, right? And I think that just totally misses the boat. I think to provide true loyalty, you have to provide value back without strings attached. And that's the underlying philosophy that powers a lot of our features and capabilities for a dealer's previous customers. That includes the vehicle statement, which just provides truly valuable information about what's going on with your car, and what you should think about doing going forward, including a vehicle health score and a number of different things. I won't go through all the details. And a vehicle wallet where they can go and say, hey, I went to the Pep Boys and here's the RO that I did. Here's what I got done. And it provides them utility. And because it provides them utility, we see that customers open the email every month. It's just like your bank statement, right? You kind of go, here's where I'm at. You kind of know where you want to know where you're at, right? So you open it, and we see that customers also edit their information all the time, and they're not unsubscribing. These may seem like, maybe basic benefits, but I know truly that these are benefits that not all dealers have with the way that they conduct email today. So really, really valuable, to think about, hey, I want to provide utility to a customer. That's how I'm going to provide value. That's how I'm going to build loyalty, so that it is a little bit of a long game, right, Brian? So like if you run the vehicle statement, 2 years from now, or after someone's been interacting with them 2 years, when it's time for them to go buy their next car, I mean, they have so much built up in their information with this dealership. You think they're really going to go and explore other opportunities, maybe for a price comparison, right? Just because that's what all consumers do. But you have found a way to really truly build loyalty without it being, hey, let's just send another email. Hey, let's just do more marketing to our previous customers.
Yeah, that makes sense. It's all about that value exchange. I think that's what it is. Any app that provides value, I'll be using it. If it's an app that feels one-sided, I'll stay away from it.
Right.
As we wrap up our conversation, it would be silly for me not to ask the AI question if fullthrottle.ai is the company and the platform. Without getting into the weeds, AI is being used a lot in describing many updated processes. But from a dealer perspective, how would you explain how AI is helping the Full Throttle platform be more efficient and effective to reach the dealer's business objectives?
Yeah, for sure. And it can certainly be a loaded topic, right? In terms of what is really AI and what role does it play. I would say, to simplify it, AI's biggest role is to simplify. It is to make things easier. And that is, without getting into the nitty gritty of, how much of our platform we have machine learning algorithms, we have different things that are truly powered by research we've done over years. And, there's research that is resulting in algorithms, and those algorithms have components of AI that actually drive things like, how do you understand creating audiences, right? Net new incremental audiences. How do you segment audiences? How do you find, we have EV and EV plus audiences, and it's your dealer's own data. You can actually go look at how we're going, and the composition of those audiences are all AI driven. So it's not a human element of having to, go one by one. So I would say, there's a lot of little details of how we've implemented it throughout the platform. But the biggest, I think, takeaway that people would actually remember is that it's about making things simple. And if we can use AI to get to our end solution much faster in the way that it's implemented, in the way that it gives us a first draft, right? These are all the main ways, even when you look at ChatGPT, et cetera, the main ways that even modern AI, and we've been around for a long time, but modern AI, and I'd say AI, the way it's been defined for the last 5 years, it's all about get to a first draft faster, get to your solution faster, and make things simple. And those three things is really how we've embraced that continuously since we've built the platform.
Well, Amol, you've done a great job of explaining your passion behind the fundamental elements of the full throttle.ai platform. I think one of the pieces I want to re-emphasize is that all of the marketing and outreach is tied to individuals, to households, and so that the revenue generated from campaigns that touch households are clearly delineated because you're connected to the DMS and dealers who want that, in a sense, attribution modeling. How is my video campaigns working? Okay, these are the households that were exposed to video, and these are the households that came in and purchased. These are some fundamental gaps that have been hard to fill. And now with identity resolution through your patented technology and a user-friendly marketing activation platform, which is your integrated marketing cloud, I think dealers owe it to themselves to get a demo. So Amol, what's the best website or best way to get someone to show the dealers or the agencies who are looking for smarter tech to run their business? How should they get a demo?
Yeah, for sure. So pretty simple. It's the name of our company. It's fullthrottle.ai. You just type it right into the browser, and you'll get to our website. And we have just an incredible amount of information there. Our YouTube channel is so robust. There's so much free content on there about, yes, how our platform works, but also some of these cutting edge marketing cookieless concepts that are in our space and how to think about them. There's an incredible amount of content on our YouTube channel. So I definitely encourage, if you're a little bit interested, but you're a little bit shy, you're not ready to have a conversation, totally understand that. Great content on our website, amazing rich media in our YouTube channel. So definitely recommend checking that out. And a lot of our customers are agencies, and agencies can fully lean into the platform There's a lot of white label opportunities as well. So definitely recommend it. Fullthrottle.ai, and from there you can also find our YouTube channel.
Great. Thank you, Amol. And for the dealers and agencies who are listening, you should know that this recent podcast series are some of the featured speakers and topics that will be focused at the Modern Retailing Conference, which is November 12th, 13th, and 14th in Palm Beach, Florida, at the beautiful O Resort. And so dealers who are wanting to elevate their customer experience, to increase the efficiency of their marketing, are invited to come out to the Modern Retailing Conference and learn about first-party data management, identity resolution, CDP platforms. The best of the best will be at the Modern Retailing Conference, and you can go to the website, modernretailingconference.com, to get your tickets. The event sells out every year, so please book early. You'll definitely want to stay at the O Resort. And then, of course, you don't have to wait until November to get a demo of the platform, and I encourage you to do that. As I've been writing about first-party data management, there are many platforms on the market, each with their own story. It is important that dealers find companies that are transparent, trustworthy, scalable, and able to deliver on those value engineering opportunities to save money, to grow revenue, to increase loyalty. And I'm really excited what the team at Full Throttle has built. If this is the first time you're listening to a podcast, you should know that I interview dozens of automotive leaders, technology companies, and innovators to help dealers educate themselves on all the products on the market that are worthy of their attention. So make sure you just search for the Brian Pash podcast on your favorite podcast platform. You'll find all our episodes there, and we'll have a whole series of interviews with people who are coming to MRC. Amol, thank you once again for coming on the show. We wish you and the team at Full Throttle AI the best of success. And are you excited about MRC in November?
Heck yeah, I'm super excited, Brian. Always a pleasure. Thanks so much for having me on. It's great to always have these conversations with you.
Great. Thank you so much. And thanks everyone for listening today. Don't forget to catch our next podcast series, Message, with interviews all leading up to MRC in the coming days. Have a great day.